what does that entail? Since you're responsible for the upkeep, what do you have to do?
Well, the first thing that the DAR did in 1915 was they started raising money to fence the each boundary
So we're looking
stone.
at Southwest 8 now.
Yeah.
Our viewers are looking at Southwest 8, and this is
Not the
before
original fence.
But this is before you came in recently to.
That's right.
Okay.
We have, the original fence would have been green and slightly circular at the top.
Oh.
This fence was installed in 2000 by our chapter. The chapters have done the fundraising for these fences. And what you saw in that picture was that the fence is rusty, because it's been around for a while. It's pretty overgrown. There used to be some sort of decorative stone in the bottom, but it's gotten scattered, and so we decided that it was time, and actually it was a special time for our chapter, wasn't it, Mary?
It was a lot of fun.
It was our 75th anniversary of our founding.
Okay.
So we decided that it was time to repaint the fence and restore the grounds. It's right in the middle of an apartment complex.
Well, I saw some cars in the background.
Right next to a parking lot.
Okay, it's right next to a parking lot.
That's right.
And an
Our
apartment
fence
complex.
has been bumped a few times.
Yes, it's been bumped by people backing into it. So there we are. I
Okay,
see on the
so-
monitor.
All right, the ladies are out there doing the work then. Now, Mary, had you ever gone out to clean up the stone before?
No, I'm a fairly new member, so this was a new experience for me, not only to find out about this project, but to find out about boundary stones in particular. And I've always lived near where a boundary stone was, but I didn't know what they were. So this was an interesting project for me.
Well, I think that's remarkable that today you could be driving right by one and not even know that it's there. It's a little bit sad, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. We have two websites that our viewers, if they want to get some more information, there's www.dcdar.org, and it lists all the locations of the stones and a lot more information about it. And there's also www.boundarystones.org, and they have a lot of really good information and history on it. And that website talks about the DC Diamond Hikers. There are apparently people who walk the perimeter and walk to all the boundary stones that are visible or not on private
Just this
property.
summer, a brother and sister in their 20s did this, and they documented and tweeted from each day and took pictures of each stone as they visited it. And they've had a marvelous response. Lots of people commented and everything. It's gotten a lot of interest in this project.
Well, it looks like it would be a fun thing to do, and I also was interested. The DC hikers are one thing, but I thought this would be a marvelous project for geocaching, for a treasure hunt. You know, getting the GPS coordinate, and then aha, what do you find there? A boundary marker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to do it?
I don't know, but I'm just suggesting to the viewers out there, any geocachers, come on, get busy and make this a project for yourself. So you ladies go out to the location, which is in Arlington, is that correct?
It's right on the Falls Church Arlington border.
Okay.
It's just off Hudson Boulevard. The apartment complex is the Patrick Henry apartment complex. And it's very easy to find because there is a very tall water tower there.
Oh, okay.
And it's just very short distance away from that water tower.
Excellent. So I see you ladies out there now, and there are 4 of you.
There were 4 of us at that point. We had there were 4 or 5 of us one day, 4 or 5 of us the other day. We came in. You could see that we had filled the ground around with marble chips, little bakers, so that they would help suppress weeds. And we had weeded around the area, exposed the stone foundation for the fence. We worked. Then we painted the fence, and that was quite interesting to try to paint the inside of that fence.
Well, they dropped you inside the cage,
Yes,
didn't
I
they?
was the caged region. Yes, that's right. Things that I said people had wanted to do it for years, and there I was with the pet rock. But it was a pleasure to see it become a really handsome place to visit, to learn about SW8. You might have noticed there was a historical marker there behind the stone. So that also gives some information. And we're in the middle of preparing a brochure that we hope to hang in a metal container. We're not geocaching it exactly, but we're putting it there in the hopes that people who are making the diamond trip will be able to stop and pick up a brochure on the life of Southwest 8.
That's great.
So, of course, for the historical preservation of it all, you're very passionate about that. You're all volunteers to do this, and you want to do a brochure on it. But what are your hopes about Southwest 8 and the other boundary stones in general?
Well, our hope is that, as you mentioned, there have been several rounds of surveying. There was a report by the National Capital Planning Association back around the bicentennial time. They made recommendations as to establishing cornerstone parks, setting up ways to acquire the stone sites so that they could be taken out of private control if possible. Later on, the Northern Virginia Boundary Stone Committee also took up the same project, and they did realize at that point that there really wasn't anything they could do about the property laws. But they could, they assembled some information that is available to DAR chapters or anyone else on preservation, how to preserve a stone, how to wash it, how to preserve the fences, how to preserve the plaques that are prominent on most of them and have weathered over time.
I think one of the main things is we'd like to have it be, all the stones be registered as national historic monuments.
Now, you were telling me only one stone is.
Right, the one at Southwest 9.
It's Southwest 9.
Which is in Benjamin Banneker Park. Is that right?
That's right.
In Falls Church, and that one has been designated already. But if all of them were designated, right now they're just historic sites, but they're not on the National Register. And if they were all on the National Register, then they could be more properly taken care of. The way it is now,
And they could probably get funding.
They could more easily get funding, because it looks like right now there are surveys or there's a project taken up about every 10 years by a different committee, and then nothing happens. So we need a more concerted effort to get it taken care of.
It really has been the DAR who's done most of the preservation.
They've been with it for, since 1915. So we are consistently there.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Now, 14 of those stones are on the Virginia side. Virginia got some of their land back in the retrocession.
Right, in 1846.
1846.
Right? Is that right?
That's correct. So they no longer mark the boundary of D.C. They did originally, but now they
actually
don't.
roughly divide Fairfax County from Arlington and Alexandria in a very rough way.
Okay, so those are the ones that are most likely on, private property or really don't have that much to do with D.C. anymore other than their historical significance.
That's right.
The ones from the South Point at Jones Point, it goes almost directly up King Street, up to Falls Church. As the kids who did the diamond hikers this summer, it was fun for them to go right up King Street and get some pastries from the Alexandria pastry shop along the way, and that was an interesting to note that what is now civilized that was once a boundary.
That was once a boundary.
Yes.
Boy, things really have
Yes.
changed over the years, haven't they?
Yes.
It's very easy to see the one in the parking lot of the First Baptist Church on King Street.
Oh.
That is one of the easiest ones to find and see.
Interesting, interesting. So I noticed they all look just a little bit different. The fences are a little bit different. Some are a little easier to read than others. The inscriptions look pretty faded on some of them. So it'd be really nice to see them get some kind of significant, you know, appreciation or recognition. Now we're showing one to our audience right now. You can see jurisdiction of the United States.
And
So
they were
that was-
actually known as jurisdiction stones.
Oh, jurisdiction, and that would have been facing the DC
That
side.
should be facing the DC side. The other side will say Maryland or Virginia. The one side will have the date. And the fourth side has the magnetic compass variance for that stone. Benjamin Banneker was skilled at figuring that out. He was self-taught. And they recorded that magnetic variance on each side, on each stone.
And they were resurveyed in 2011 with our modern technology, how we survey now, and it was very close to the original.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
That's amazing if you think about it.
Yes.
Yeah, great. So, your pet rock. When is you spent 2 days refurbishing?
We spent 2 days, yeah, because we had to wash and clean and sand the fence.
And wait for
put
paint
a
to
coat-
dry. And
yeah, and put a coat on,
Okay.
let it dry, and then come back.
it looks beautiful. And then when is the next time, you know, how long will that last now before it is going to need some more attention?
It really should be inspected every year.
Every year.
And yeah, I mean, just to see what has happened to it at that time. And I would say that, you know, as you inspect it every year, you will determine when certain things need to be done. Like the landscaping may grow in faster than the fence needs to be repainted.
Sure, sure.
But it's an interesting stone, and it's had an interesting life. So
Well, that's terrific. I'm so glad that you were able to come and talk to us about that. And audience, you'll realize that we leave no stone unturned for you. And you rock. So we really appreciate you coming and talking to us about the stones. And now we're all eager to get out there and find them and have a little pet rock of our own maybe and see what we can do about their continuing restoration and getting their place in history back to what it should be. So join us next time when we'll be on the go with AAUW.